Good, go on. Good. Now put a little bit of tongue under the C sharp at the bottom, to the front of it, not the back of it. Da 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 dee. I didn't have tongue on that one, right? Try it again. But it was da 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 da. Yeah. Now this is super nitpicky, but again, as a judge, I'm listening to all these different styles of note lengths because if you can demonstrate as a performer an amazing skill set of control of note length, I know you spent time with your instrument, right? And if I'm thinking the kind of people that can control articulations are the ones who are going to have an easier time in the all-state band, right? You have a short period of time to learn music. You have a very narrow window, and those who spend the most amount of time are the ones who earn that spot. So we can tell a lot by articulation style. I probably, when I'm learning a new piece of music, spend more time on articulations now than I do on learning the notes. And the reason for that is I practice my scales, right? If I practice my scales, I don't have to spend a lot of time on notes. I can focus on the next level. And articulation is what we call style, okay? Style is, I mean, it applies to a lot of things, right? How many people gave thought to what they were going to wear today before they put it on, right? Like a lot of people think like, oh, what am I going to put on? I want it to represent me. I probably spend less time on this now than I did when I was your age, because I think I cared more when I was your age than I do now. It's weird. There comes a point where you just stop caring and you just be yourself. But I definitely gave it thought. How am I going to present myself today with my style, right? And we all have a unique sense of style, but there's also an understanding of what is culturally acceptable stylistically and what isn't. And that goes into play in aesthetics and music, right? There are certain note lengths that we accept as, there's a range of acceptable note lengths. There's also a range of non-acceptable note lengths. So we gotta figure out what is the style and the aesthetic of what people are expecting when we play our instrument. How can we demonstrate that in a really extra musical way? How can we practice what we just demonstrated here? What are ways that maybe some of us have worked on articulations before? Scales with different articulations. Excellent. And one of the things I didn't include in your packet, but one of the things I do every day, you notice that on the packet there's the 12 extended scales, right? There's no articulations attached to them. You can attach any articulation you want. And what I have is I have a cycle of 12 articulations. I start with slurred groups of 4. Then I do, let me just demonstrate. Here's my first articulation pattern. Right? Then I'll do slurred groups of 2. Slurred 2, tongue 2. Tongue 2, slurred 2. Then I'll do 3 and 1. 1 and 3. Right? Then I'll do a little more complex. A slurred 2, tongue 2, tongue 2, slurred 2. Right? Then I'll do a tongue, slur, slur, tongue. Right? Then I'll do groups of, you know, the 1 and 4 kind of marching band rhythm, right? Slurred group of 3, slurred group of 3, slurred group of 2. Has anyone kept track of how many I've said so far? I'm at 9. I'm very close. I'm at 9, right? So I got 3 more because I want 12. I got 12 scales. I want 12 articulation patterns because every day I can start on the same scale, but start on a different articulation pattern and work my way through in a 12-day cycle, 12 scales with 12 articulation patterns. Now every day is a little bit different, but it also gives me the ability to really dig into these articulations and practice in a way that, 1, maintains a little sense of freshness, but 2, also gives you the ability to play in any key with any articulation pattern, okay? So I got 3 more to go. This is the real fun one, groups of 3, okay? So groups of 3 are hard because they don't line up over a group of 4 very well. It takes 3 beats to get to where you have 12 notes with 4 groups of 3. So you'll hear 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. It's a da 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 da. It's a really complex polyrhythm, but you know how that works out, the 3s over 4? A little more complex. Then I get into a group of, similar to like jazz swing, where I'm only articulating on upbeats. Right? And my last one is all tongue. Working on making sure sure I can actually tongue in rapid succession quickly, okay? I do this every day at 80, 100, 120, 140, okay? I run through my scales at those speeds with these articulations. I'll be honest, every day at 140 isn't always the prettiest thing, especially if it's been after a couple of weeks off in the summer or something, right? Tonguing is the first thing to go. It's the first thing we notice in the person's playing. Tone and articulation clarity, right? Because they go so importantly together. So practicing that way is a really beneficial skill set. But what it means, here's the hard part about that. I just threw a lot of information in. It's a lot of planned practice ahead of time. If you really want to improve, you should know I've got 30 minutes to practice. What am I going to do for these 30 minutes before you take your instrument out of the case? If you plan out, I've got 10 minutes I'm going to spend on long tones, I've got 10 minutes I'm going to spend on scales, and I've got 10 minutes I'm going to spend in my band piece, or not even my band piece, I'm going to spend 10 minutes in these couple of lines of my band piece because they're the hard spots. Then you've got 30 minutes where you actually got stuff done, instead of how many times have you practice where like you start and you just kind of willy-nilly bounce around, and before you know it, you're either bored because you haven't been focused, or two, you haven't gotten anything done. It's been 45 minutes and you feel like you've accomplished nothing. Anyone ever have those kind of practice sessions? Every single one of us, everyone has had that experience. And the important thing to realize is that the people who push past it are the ones who figure out how to achieve. Not everyone, nobody does this well initially. And here's the interesting thought, and I love saying this. You have to practice how to practice, okay? No one is initially good at practicing. But when you practice practicing, you get better over time. And when you get better over time, you then start to see your improvement happen exponentially, okay? In 1 hour, I can get done a lot more than any one of you can. And that's not because I'm better than you, it's because I have more practice at practicing. Does that make sense? It seems kind of out there at times, but I want to make sure we all understand that there are very specific skill sets. You work on articulation, right? You figure out how to get our tongue to touch the reed, and you've done a very, very good job of that. Most of this is excellent, so I'm getting really nitpicky, and I wish you the best of luck in your audition. We work on how to push our air into the saxophone. We work on how does our air work for the high register versus how does it work for the low register. We work on getting our vibrato mechanism to work. Every single skill set is a unique muscle group that we have to learn to work. Once we learn each group, we then start doing the coordination of getting them to work together. Okay? Anyone ever play a drum set? Okay? The hardest part about playing drum set is not playing the snare, it's not playing the bass, it's not playing the tom, it's not playing the cymbal, it's playing them all together. It's the coordination, right? So it's once you figure out how to get all these muscles to work in coordination, then you figure out like, oh, that works a lot better together. So you have to work on each individual skill set. And if you have the discipline and the focus and the patience to then decide, I'm going to script out my next practice session, and I'm going to target these groups, because these are the things I'm bad at. Not, I want to play this because I'm good at it. I want to target these things that I'm really bad at. Your practice session should not make you sound good. People who listen to you practice should go, oh, man, they're not very good. Yes, exactly, because that's what we're working on, the things we're not good at, okay? When you perform, you don't show off the things you're not good at. You show off the things you are good at. When you audition, hopefully you're presenting all the work you've done. But you should not sound amazing when you practice, okay? You should be working on all the things you're not good at. And there might be some little verbal things that come out of you in the practice session. Oh, darn, oh, man, oh, right? That's where you work that stuff out, right? It's in the practice room. You get out all the frustrations and you figure out how to slowly tame whatever beast it is we're playing. But all of these things are really important discussions. With our last couple minutes, here's what I want to do. I want to make sure we have enough of these distributed out. I want to tell you a little bit about these Van Doren products that you're